Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Star Ocean 2. Last time we finished up our travels all the way over to Liqueur. We made ourselves some pit stops, got some skills. In between episodes, I went back off screen and did a couple of things. One, I went to the Salvage Rift and collected the treasure in there that is on the way to recruiting Ashton. As you can see, I have not recruited Ashton. All the way down, not there. And I also did a little bit of level grinding. As you can see, I'm level 25 now. I think I was level 19 when we left, or something like that. And there's a very good reason for that. And it really did not take all that long. The enemies around here give like 800 to 1200 experience. And it was, I was getting a new level, and then it was like 1200 or not 1200, 2100 or something like that till the next level. So it was like 2-3 battles and you've already leveled up again. So it's very quick. I also did fight a whole bunch of weak enemies for the purpose of leveling up the energy sword. Now it does get a bit of a boost at 100 proficiency, but now as you can see I'm at 198. And I just want to show you the difference between it as it levels up, because it should hit another milestone at 200 and get even more powerful. I haven't really been using that very much, but anyway, yeah. So I did a little bit of grinding around here, and I will kind of show off the different methods of how I've done certain things. So let's run over here real quick, since I'll be doing another event or another demonstration over on the other side of the ocean. But basically I've been fighting the enemies around here. They're pretty easy. And let's see, we do 533. Just kind of keep that in mind about how much that's going to do. 533. Now that I've done enough to reach 200, I'm going to be able to wow, I do a lot of damage. Awesome.
Finished? Yeah.
And she learns to spell on this path too. That's great. I'm going to do a battle over on the other side, so give me a sec. Okay, so we're back on the other side, and basically if you want to level grind up any of your techs, ideally you'll have the Emerald Ring. I don't this time, but that's the only time I'll be doing any killer move grinding without it, just because it's so much better than everything else. So what you want to do is you want to get the character, you want to work on it, and you want to either remove the other characters from battle, or no, not in there, or go to their strategy and set them to do nothing so they won't take care of the enemies while you're trying to level up your stuff. Make sure that in combat you're controlling the character you want to control, in this case Claude, and run into battles against very weak enemies. Now, ideally, you'll already have the Emerald Ring, but like I said, at this point on Claude's path, I do not. So you go into a battle against weak enemies that can't hurt you, and you just sit there and you spam your abilities. Remember, last time it did 533, now it's doing 800. Now, that'll be determined by your level. You just basically go through the whole fight, you spam it until you get rid of all of it. And I think I need 11. Yeah, I need 11 to do it. And then you go kill the enemies. And of course they're weak and very easy.
Is it already finished?
And then one thing I've done off screen is you go into your skill menu and you up Herbal Science. You can get it to level 6 by only expending 1 point per level, and it increases the amount of restoration you get from blackberries and blueberries. In our case, the important part of that is blackberries, since the blackberry normally gives 30% of your MP. Now it gives about 45, I think, because 2 of them almost maxes it out. So there you go. You can do that as much as you want. You'll have to keep buying blueberries, but that's one method of leveling up specific skills so that they'll actually be useful in battle. That way you won't have to worry about, the AI not doing it very well, and it's simple enough to do even if it takes a little bit of time. Anyway, that's all I needed to do over here, so now I'm going to beat you back at Liqueur. Okay, we're back in Liqueur, and we want to do a little bit of pickpocketing before we move on. Please? Yay, the Oriental Blade. Does not matter at all on Claude's path. It is a blade, if I can find it. Oh, where is it? There we go. That he can't use. If you just press your confirm button, in my case the X button, you can find out who can use specific pieces of equipment from the menu. If you press square button, you can find out how powerful they are. So, as you can see, we're starting to get equipment that is at least powerful enough, you know, for 500 attack power. So, the Marvel Sword is still way too abusive to use, but it's not looking quite as abusive as it was, you know, a few episodes back. Anyway, so we got that, and we're getting... Stop that! There are a bunch of... Both Shaver, I don't... No, that's for a character we don't have, that's for Ashton. You can steal a bunch of stuff. Most of the characters around here are, like, called fighting men, or something like that. Lots of people around here give stuff that doesn't really matter. Basically, they're all talking about the tournament here in Liqueur that Diaz had mentioned before as well. You have to register, and then you have to go to a weapon shop that sells good equipment and get them to sponsor you. Apparently, that's how the tournament works. So everyone seems to be super excited about the tournament for winning prize money and gifts and all this other stuff. And, of course, for the honor of it. Now, because the tournament's going on, none of the weapon shops will sell us any equipment. So we can't buy much of anything. If we talk to you, this is the editor. You can sell books to them, and I'll go into what that all entails later. But you can still buy from the tool shop and stuff like that, so I'll buy some more blackberries. You usually want to be pretty full on blackberries. I don't think I need most of this other stuff, even though the Smith's Hammer we could probably use a bunch of. I'll be doing stuff with those before long. $1.15, good enough. And out of the way. And over here, I think he just sells food. And the seltzer. As you can see, even at when we were in Hurley, I've had the game on for probably a couple hours since then, because I was doing all the other stuff that I've been doing since then. But it's jumped up about 50,000 full in that short amount of time. So you can get some pretty good money off of this. Do note that when you go to sell it, you have to sell it for, like, you're not going to sell it at this same price point. You're going to sell it at, I think, about a 50% value. But there are ways to increase the amount that you sell items for. So we'll get into that a little bit later. I don't really feel the need to do that today. Okay. So as you'll note, I'll probably put it on the screen now, the items we can steal here, or pickpocket here, are incredibly high. There's like so frickin' many of them. Is it you? No, it's not you. I don't care about the jam. There is a young man, maybe you? Nope, just a man. In front of the castle that I want to steal from. Is it going to be you? You? The extension card! That doubles your experience in a fight. I won't be using those until way later in the game, because we don't really need it, and I'm getting way too many items. But anyway, we want to head into the castle. There's a couple of things we can do while we're here. I believe you are the young woman I need to steal from? Cinderella glass. There's also an opportunist. You. We can steal a bandit's glove from you. Awesome. And let's kind of head through the rest of the castle. I don't think there's a lot of treasure around here. I'm not going to talk to everyone. There are so many people here. You can steal so many items. Not all of them are particularly useful. In fact, most of them aren't. So I'm not going to worry about showing off more than just like 3 or 4 items. I think it's you. And of course, it's not going to work. Steal from somebody else. Don't need that. Game. I want to get the thing. Stop that. These don't matter a lot. Fresh syrup is a good thing to get. And the care tablet. That's all I really cared for. Maybe get another care tablet. That's fine. Steal that from you again. We can steal from you after the cutscene. But it doesn't matter what you get from this guy. Where did you and your friend come from? Arlia. are not authorized. Visitors cannot come in here. Well, nobody told me, and you have no guards. So, your fault. Absolutely no manners. Now, just keep in mind that this guy has that kind of opinion of people. And I don't care if I didn't steal from him. I just figured because I was here. But, yeah, just kind of keep his personality in mind for a little bit later. We'll have to deal with him shortly. Well, in a while, anyway. And I think that's pretty much all the pickpocketing we can do. Do note, I'll go into more detail about it when we have more situations to work on it. But the pickpocketing that you can do here, the reason why it's so huge, and the reason why there was all that additional information there, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever, basically that's just going to tell you that the amount of people and where they are located is different around here. And it changes a lot as all the stuff goes on. I don't think there's anybody else up here. No, we can't go up that way. I don't think there's any treasure around here, and I'm not going to talk to everybody, but everyone's talking about the tournament. They're cleaning up, getting ready for it, and that's it. Do note that we've gone through pretty much the whole castle by now, and this is the arena where we'll be doing all the stuff. But yeah, now that we've done that, let's backtrack out. We don't, there's nothing else we really need to worry about grabbing. I got the 3 most important items in here. The Oriental Blade is the only really important on Raina's path, but I wanted to show it just the same. Now, let's talk to the receptionists out here. Reception for the audience with the king. I would hope so. Otherwise, because that's the entire reason why we came here. No audiences until a few days after the tournament. Okay. That's about the size of it. Of course, if you do well in the tournament, His Majesty would want to congratulate you and you might be able to see him sooner. We see where this is going. There's a tournament. And I believe I have to exit out in order to trigger the cutscene, so... Sorry, I got distracted for a moment. Could go to Linga, or Lingua, and get the ancient writings we found in the Cross Cave deciphered. We could do that. Or we could sit here in silence for a while. That works too. You want to enter the tournament, do you? Of course you do. You want to show off, don't you? Yes, Diaz was mentioning this tournament, which is why I've been talking about it for about a week and a half now. So yeah, the tournament is held here, and we need to do it. Sorry if my voice is kind of cracking in and out. I'm still getting over this illness that hit me last week, or I guess a week and a half ago now. But yeah, it's taking its sweet time. And I have better days and I have worse days, so probably only record this episode today, and then we'll call her because I don't want to have too many episodes that just sound like, you know, crazy sick me. A few days ago, I was able to record like 4 videos and I had no problem at all. Who knows? Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe it only feels like it's cracking in my throat and it's not actually sounding any different. I don't know. So yeah, we've changed our minds. We're going to go register at the reception there, and that's part of the plan. Of course I'm going to take the championship. What happens in all tournaments in any JRPG we've ever seen before? We always win! I'm going to lose, aren't I? Alright, so let's register for the tournament. Eventually. yeah, once you do this, you'll be stuck into certain things. So I'm going to make a save state here because I forgot to make a proper save file, just so that I have a backup to go back to. Okay, please choose and register with your sponsoring weapon shop at least 1 day before the tournament begins. Now, I will be doing a bit of a dual path here. I'll be showing it like I did in Mars, back to back. Show what happens in Claude's path, what happens on Raina's path, because at this point the plot splits apart a little bit again. But we have to go, well, we have to have cutscene, and then we have to go figure out which weapon shop we want to align with. There's really only 2 choices. There are, I think, technically 4 choices, but there's only 2 good choices. It depends on how you like to play. And it's one of the reasons why I did the level grinding that I did. I wanted to get up to around level 25, level 26, just to get enough levels so that I would be strong enough. And I also wanted to level up the ability that I did, Energy Sword, so that I have a way of healing myself when I'm in a tournament by myself. Now, I could, well, you can't, but you would think that you could just use the Marvel Sword and annihilate the tournament. But no, you get sponsored by a weapon shop, as they're talking about here, and in doing that, you don't get to use your own equipment. You get to use the equipment provided to you by the weapon shop. So there's 4 different options. 2 of them are a balance of attack and defense. One that I can't remember which one I'm going for, but one of them is almost all defense and weaker attack, and the other one is less attack and pretty much all defense. So one's all defense, one's all attack, and 2 are balances between. Now I'm going to go off screen for a moment because I can't remember which one I had decided on going with. And then basically we just have to talk to all the weapon shops and figure out which one we want to do. So 1 sec. Okay, I remember now. I can't remember which one provides the one I want. This is the one. Okay, perfect. Basically, like I was saying, the shops have different types of gear. This is the one that's all defense and little offense. And basically, we want to see the weapons and armor we'll be using. The weapon shops not only provide you with weapons, but armor as well. You don't get any accessories equipped for this, unfortunately, which kind of screws you over. But this is the high defense one. As you can see, the weapon is the Sinclair Saber, something we already had before that's kind of crap. So you want, well, I like this one. You can either go with this one or you can go with the most offensive one. The most offensive one gives you a weapon called the Long Edge or Long Sword, or one of the 2. It has an attack power of, I think, like 295, while the Sinclair Saber is, I think, 120 or 140. So yeah, 120, yeah, or 100 maybe, I don't know. It's not very high anyway. So you can choose one or the other, whichever works for you. I'm going to play it defensive in here, but that's entirely up to you. Press the circle button or to cancel when you are done. And if you register with them, you don't get your own items for these fights either. You get to use the items that they provide for you. 2 sweet syrup, a mixed syrup, and a blackberry. So again, I'm going to make the save state here so that I can go back if I don't want to, but usually this is what I decide to do. The other one is probably easier if you get the long edge, but I would much rather have, because when you're done with the tournament, you get to keep the equipment. Well, I think you get to keep the equipment even if you lose, but we're not going to do that. The tournament is actually pretty difficult, which is why I've done all the preparations that I have for Claude in this case. Registering gets you the tournament pass, and once you've done that, all you have to do is go to the inn in order to set everything up so you're ready to go. Until then, you can do as much grinding as you need to, but as soon as you go to the inn and say you're ready, you can't do any more. So I'm going to go outside and save, and we're going to do a couple other things. Sorry if I went through the dialogue a little fast there. Might as well enjoy the day while we can. Life is like that. Different perspectives. Let's just cut loose. And by that, we're going anything goes. Train, party, paint the town red. Well, I did all the training I needed to already. But yeah, you can stay in the hotel. I don't know why they name which hotel you can stay in, since it would be pretty obvious. There's only one hotel, but whatever. It's free for entrance, and they're sure to wake me up in time for the match. Sure. Trust them to do that. But yeah, I'm going to run outside and make a proper backup save file. I believe they do let me out. Yeah, I know how the inn works. Anyway, so let's make a backup save file out here. Just the reason why you want to do this is you absolutely have to win this, because it gives you access to something that you need in order to create his ultimate weapon. Okay, before we call it a day, let's go down and look at some of the combat skills. Now, a lot of the, none of your equipment goes over, none of your items go over, but any of your skills, they will go over. So let's take a look here. We want to improve our aim with a certain probability. Let's put a couple points there. We already looked at those. Gale increases combat speed. So we'll put some points in there. Ability to parry the enemy with a certain probability. That's useful. Prevents fainting with a certain probability. That's also useful. Increases attack power with a certain probability. We can see where this is going. Counterattack when attacked. I'm not even sure how this works, but it's cheap enough, so sure. And strong blow. Get that up to 4. Now, flip is something that I really don't use ever. You're guaranteed to hit the enemy if you run around them. And that's what flip does. It'll force you to run around them. But I don't really like it when they do that, because I'm going to turn it off here. Because chances are you're going to be hit while you're running around the enemy. Even if you miss the enemy, at least if you're facing the enemy, instead of running around it, at least you're facing them head on, and you have a chance of blocking yourself. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put 1 point into functionality. And scientific ability is something that increases our strength, so we're going to up that to there. And kitchen knife. Thought I already put these points in, but I guess I didn't, so that's fine. And mental science gives us more MP, so let's put a few points there. And what else do I want? We can get a little bit of agility for some avoid. So let's put 4 into either of these, which both do the same thing. And what else? I think that's pretty much good. Oh, piety is something that you don't ever want to put points into until right at the end of the game if you want to max out your stats. Because what piety does is it increases a random stat, I think by 3%. But it's based on the amount you have. Most of these other ones, they just give you a flat number of skill or stat points. But piety gives you a percentage, so the higher your stat is, the higher the percentage is going to give you. It's also random, so sometimes it'll raise something like intelligence for Claude, which is useless. So we don't really want that. You can save and try and make it look really good for yourself. I don't really care that much, but it's up to you. And then with my last few points, I'm going to get up to pickpocketing level 9. Sure, we can waste the last ones on strong blow. And that's pretty much it. Those are my preparations for Claude. It should give him some better stats going forward. And hopefully I'll be able to make it through here without too many problems. Anyway, that's all for this one. And I'll see you guys next time.